Hi, I'm Eleanor and welcome to MotorMatters, your favorite channel for all things motoring in South Africa, the newest, the latest, the greatest, the best, and everything in between. The DFSK little Bakkie. But it's a misnomer to call it a little Bakkie. You'll see why in a minute. Besides the fact that it's got a 985 kilo rated payload. So I'm going to call it a one-tonner. And this is most definitely the cheapest one-tonner available in South Africa right now, if not the cheapest Bakkie. But let's not nitpick about that little fact right now. It's powered by a 1.2-litre four-cylinder petrol engine, giving you 65 kilowatts and 115 newton meters of torque through a 5-speed manual gearbox. And let me tell you, it certainly is peppy enough for local delivery, local urban short-distance deliveries, and carrying a load with no problem. You'll notice, of course, it's what they call the cab forward design. So you've got a very stubby little bonnet over here, but the engine's actually under the passenger seat inside. But I don't think that makes any difference in a vehicle like this. There are other competitors that are a similar design and give you a much nicer, bigger load back than normal designs with the engine up front over there. But anyway, not important. You've got nice little wheels over here, 14 inches over here, obviously just steel wheels. I mean, really, what do you expect? And I'm afraid a terrible hardship. Old-fashioned key that you've got to put into a lock to open the vehicle and put into the ignition to start it. I'm being a little bit sarcastic here, as you may notice. Now, one of the major advantages and features of this Bakkie is the size of the load buck. 2.7 meters long, way longer than most others. And that means you can carry a much longer load. Also, a feature that you'd pay extra for on some opposition is, if I come round to the back and I unhook the tailgate and do that and drop it, this obviously is extra, the coating, the protective coating, but that's not the point. What I want to show you is I come back to the side over here. Standard drop side. On a lot of similar vehicles, you'll pay extra for a drop side version, or the drop side capability, should I call it that. So it's again a very, very big advantage and saving when it comes down to the basic cost of the vehicle, that you get the standard drop side. Look at the size of this load buck. Maybe we should run a competition. How many Allens do you think this one can take? That's a good question. I don't know if I can even come to an answer myself. But DFSK South Africa have certainly brought this in as a value proposition for small businesses, entrepreneurs, anybody that's doing relatively short distance. Can handle on the highway, on the freeway. I've taken it on the freeway and it does fine, but it's really designed for urban use more than anything else as far as I'm concerned. It's really the point of it. But it can take it. It can take the load. 985 kilos rated payload, I think, is quite exceptional for a vehicle of this type, and I keep repeating myself, at this kind of price. Check it out. Check it on the road. We took it on the road, you'll see it on the road, and we'll show you what it's like inside the cab for how the driver is going to look with this vehicle.
On the road in the DFSK, it really is actually surprisingly sprightly, and by sprightly I'm talking about performance-wise. It can keep up with traffic around town. It's not totally built for freeway use, but I took it on the freeway. It cruised very comfortably at 100 k's an hour. It obviously would smooth out the ride a little bit if you put a load on the back and didn't drive with it empty, but that's like any Bakkie on the market, not just this one. Driver-wise, the controls, the clutch, the gearbox, the steering, all of them were nice and light and easy to drive. So I could just picture, as a workhorse, your driver could sit behind this wheel all day long, delivering plenty on the back, and do it in comfort and ease and economically. That's the big thing. And that's what makes it important. Just overall, you've got fan, not air conditioning, but it even has a radio system. And very, very interestingly and surprisingly, the driver's window is a one-touch up and down, which I think is quite impressive as well, considering it's for such a small little vehicle. But just overall, if ever there was a vehicle and a workhorse designed for the job and suited to a job that you want it for, this has got to really, really be a great one to do it. And the instrumentation may not give you a fuel consumption figure, but DFSK says 7.5 litres per 100. I can tell you that fuel gauge has barely moved in the time I've been driving it. And I've driven it for a week or two now and been using it on and off, and it just doesn't seem to affect the fuel gauge. So I think that's a very, very big plus as well. Overall, it's just comfortable, it's easy, it's relaxed, and at 189,900 Rand in today's money in the South African market, I challenge you to do any better with a workhorse Bakkie.
Jumping in behind the wheel. Basic is not the word for the instrumentation, but what do you want from a basic Bakkie like this? I mean, that's the whole point of it, isn't it? I haven't been able to measure fuel consumption because I certainly can't find a reading for it, but it does give you there your fuel gauge over there, and I can tell you it's barely moved in the time I've had the Bakkie. So I've got to take that as a indication of something, that's for sure. Steering wheel with not a single button on the steering wheel, but what I do find interesting is over there you have got a height adjustment for your headlights, for example, a manual height adjustment, and I think that's quite an interesting little feature. And then on the door you've got electric windows, driver, passenger, and it's even an auto down for the driver. How's that? I think that's pretty impressive for something of this type, and of course I'm going to keep repeating at this kind of price level. An interesting feature that I picked up while looking at the specs is that it's even got electric power steering, EPS. Again, just makes life easy, makes it comfortable, and makes it easy to drive. 5-speed manual gearbox, clutch, they both, again, light. Now, a few years ago, Bakkies were heavy to drive. They were heavy, awkward, needed a grunt and a push and a whatever. No, electric power steering, and that makes it light and easy. Manual handbrake, what more do you want? Coming to the center over here, sorry, no touch screen. You've got your ventilation over there. You've got a very simple little radio system over here. But again, and no aircon, but you certainly have got a fan and heater system over there. These are the little features you get. Rubber floor mats to keep it nice and easy and convenient. Cloth seating, which again is quite interesting. And I'm not going to do it now and open it up, but the engine is under the seat over here. You access it through this over here. You can see where you just flap it open and do that. I'm just not going to do it now. Sorry, I'm being lazy. But it's a little 1.2 litre 4-cylinder petrol engine putting out 65 kilowatts and 106 Newton meters of torque. And I must tell you, as you will have seen in the video just now, it really does pull. It really does go nicely. We didn't really have a load on the back, I know that, but still, I have been very impressed by the sprightly performance of it. You've also got little extra storage bins places over there. You've got a cubby hole down there. You've got cup holders in the doors. You've got cup holders down here. So they have tried to give you storage space and plenty of it. And that also is a nice little feature. The fact of this Bakkie is, I'm calling it a one-tonner, in fact. It's rated for 985 kilos payload. It's kind of the cheapest Bakkie on the market in South Africa right now. It's most definitely the cheapest one-ton Bakkie on the market in South Africa right now. What more can you ask for? 189,900 Rand for one of these that can take the load, that's got the back space, got the load area, got the capacity, and enough performance, certainly, for local delivery and local running around. I think it's really in this market category for small businesses, for entrepreneurs, for sole traders, for anybody of that sort. You've got to be crazy if you don't take a look at this one. For MotorMatters, I'm Eleanor, and I'll see you next time.